Good evening, everybody. I'm here to talk today about the PPE guidelines at Pass and Go. Obviously, there's been a lot mentioned about the guidelines that we implemented back in May. By the way, this was just to introduce, but I'll take that off now. So a lot's been kind of said about the, it's not very good for your hair, is it, this stuff, but especially when you've got hair like mine. But anyways, so there's been a lot mentioned about the PPE guidelines. That's obviously over time have kind of changed, I guess, in some ways. So I want to kind of run through a few things, and we do have some updated guidelines that we're announcing this evening. So first of all, let's just go back a little bit just to explain. So back in May, that's when we decided as a team we were going to go for the July start date, which obviously has worked out quite well. At the same time, we were looking at, we launched the guidelines of our PPE requirements. That's when we launched our working from a vehicle document. We launched our the COVID poster, the risk assessments. That was all way back in mid-May. Well before now. I mean, it's only 6 or 7 weeks, I guess, but it feels like a lifetime ago. So obviously, we mentioned about wearing a face mask or a covering, and wearing gloves. Now, so that was fine. And as it's got through, there's obviously been mentions of gloves being worn, people washing hands, face coverings or not face coverings. Obviously, public transport became a thing where you've got to wear it on face coverings. That was after we'd mentioned it on our that we were going to wear it when we do get to work. So yeah, things have been developing all the time, as this whole thing has with COVID-19. Obviously, more recent, we've the government announced for sort of hairdressers and other businesses to go back to work. I think that was last Tuesday. And then on the Wednesday following that, they launched a document on their website, which we've put out to use already, about close contact services, which it refers to where you are within 1 meter of your client or customer for a prolonged amount of time of the day. It doesn't matter how many customers that day, just that you're with customers for a long period of the day, which obviously we are. So we believe that that's kind of referring to us. Now, it didn't explicitly mention driving instructors. It was mentioned hairdressers and all this sort of stuff, but to be fair, we've never been mentioned in any of the things anyways, really. So that doesn't really, surprise me. But it definitely referred to things that, with a close contact, within the meter for a long time, which definitely is us. Nobody can argue with that. So we used them guidelines to, because it mentioned also, in those guidelines, that to wear face visors or a shield in front of the customer and the practitioner or the person that's doing the job for safety. Now, obviously, we can't put shields in vehicles, so the face shield became the next part of the PPE. So that's basically done. We've got a face shield now, we've got a mask now, and we've got the gloves. So then it's kind of gone through a few more another week, and DVSA has now announced their side of things. Now, there's a few things I want to explain with this. The DVSA apparently, from what I've seen, the documents I've seen, they're not going to be recommending PPE requirements to driving instructors, and that's meant to be up to the driving instructor from what I've seen. So it's meant to be up to us. Obviously, we're already doing that with Pass and Go, but I guess each individual instructor, as in an independent, I guess, has to come up with their own PPE requirements. Obviously, I would say using common sense, but that's their problem anyways. But yeah, so they're not kind of going to give any advice on that. But obviously they are, we can look at what they're doing in a way and see, my argument with this one is, I don't just look at the DVSA and think we've got to do what they do. I think we've got to make decisions for ourselves and for our customers and our instructors and our business to make sure everybody's as protected as possible. So, but we will look at the DVSA and just have a little look to see what they're doing. Now, their examiners are not going to be wearing face shields as far as I can see, but they are going to be wearing face coverings, which is what we are. And gloves for the examiners is optional, but they are, it looks like they're kind of recommending it, but it's optional for them to wear. It's a little bit confusing, this one, because they refer to, they say that you should, but you don't have to. But then if you're handling the driving license, you've got to have gloves on. So it's a little bit confusing, to be fair. But you know, that's the way that they've released the information. So that's just the way it is. So anyways, so things have kind of developed a little bit further. So what we've been doing is reviewing things. There's been a few instructors inquiring about, what about face shields? What about, you know, kind of, will it do this, will it do that, as in insurance? I'm going to come on to that in a moment. But they've basically been asking, you know, I don't think this is right. Some people have been saying, I don't think it's right. I think this is my opinion. This is my opinion. What I'd probably say with this is that when there's no clear guidelines, as in telling us you've got to do this, and it's your decision, then there's going to be opinions all over. We've got 200 odd members here at Pass and Go. So you're going to have people who think this, you're going to have people who think that. We're going to think something. So obviously, you know, we're not all 200. I'd be very surprised if we all agreed on exactly the same thing. It would be quite unusual, you know. But we've obviously got to look at, you know, what's the best thing we think for our customers and stuff, and go with that. In any case, so yes, so we've been, those people anyways, to the people who were inquiring about this or that, we said we're going to do reviews, and we were actually planning on doing the review a bit further down the line in a couple of weeks, but since the DVSA has released more information now, we brought that review forward to this evening, or today, and we've actually been doing it over the week a little bit, but obviously tonight's the announcement. So that's that. Now, what I do want to say before I get into that is the face shields and the different things. So first of all, gloves. So I'm a fan of the gloves. I do believe that you're less likely to touch your face if you've got gloves on, because you're more aware that you're wearing something. So you're less likely just to be, you know, rubbing your eyes or picking your nose or whatever subconsciously. There is arguments on the other side that washing your hands is better than gloves, because if you've got gloves on, you're just transmitting the things around anyways. But like, you know, I suppose if you wash your hands and then you're touching something, then you start, you know. So I don't know. It's one of them where there can be pros and cons, I guess. Obviously, the DVSA again have got kind of pros and cons. So I don't know about gloves, but just to let you know about the PPE changes. So gloves is going to become optional. So even though we recommend them, they are optional. So you can not wear gloves. However, if you don't wear gloves, like a mime artist, if you don't wear gloves, I'm going to take these off, sorry. Yeah, if you don't wear gloves, you should, you need to wash your hands thoroughly. And this will be with a hand sanitizer, or a hand gel type of thing, with a minimum of 60% alcohol. That's 60% alcohol. So yeah, you need to wash your hands very thoroughly. We are going to be putting guidance out in our documents, so they're not online yet. We're actually working on them, but there's a few things to do. So they're going to go on over the weekend. But washing your hands thoroughly. There's going to be lots of detailed information in there, because you're going to have to wash them before the lesson, after the lesson. We recommend, if you get any opportunity to do it during the lesson, because like I say, you can pick up things even when you're in the car, even though you think it's clean. Obviously, one thing to bear in mind with washing your hands with alcohol is that eventually, the more you, because you're going to be doing it probably 2 or 3 times a lesson, it can be irritating, and it, you know, you might have, you might feel that you might have some irritation on there. Now, obviously, with that, it depends what you want to do. It might be that you just persist. It might be that you switch to gloves for a bit, go back to washing. But it's going to be completely up to you guys. But what you have to do is either wear gloves, or you must thoroughly wash your hands. It's got to be that. You can't not wear gloves and also don't wash your hands. That would be a really bad thing. Now, your customers with gloves, they are also going to be told that they can wear gloves. They've got to bring gloves with them, or they can wash their hands. Obviously, you're going to have to give them the spray, the gel, to wash their hands. And we'd recommend that this is done outside of the vehicle, because as soon as they get in the car and start touching things, then obviously they've got things, they might have something on their hands and they're putting it all over, so then they'll clean the hands, but they've contaminated the vehicle. So really, you're going to have to do it outside. That comes into loads of other issues. You know, what happens if it's raining and you're outside and you're having to get them to wash their hands? Is that practical? So gloves might be still a thing. I mean, what we're going to do here is give you the options, and you guys can choose what you think is going to suit yourselves better. But what you have to be 100% aware of is, you know, you've got to be thinking about safety all the time, thinking about risk, and limiting that risk as much as possible. Personally, I would say they should wear gloves and get in and wear gloves, because then that should be that. There's an argument that there could be that there's already stuff on their hands, on their gloves, when you get in the car as well. So it's one of them where, you know, it's I think it's a difficult one to navigate. All we can do here is try to minimize risk as much as possible, but I don't know if it'll ever become, you know, if it's ever 100%. Anyways, that's the gloves. So, okay, so hopefully it's clear. You can wear gloves, or you can just wash your hands thoroughly regularly. Okay. Now, when we put the documents online over the weekend, there's going to be information on wash your hands thoroughly with regards to the different techniques, how you're meant to do it. We've got a new document coming which has sort of descriptions and imagery and things like that of how to do this. So do look at that. Okay, so that's the gloves side of things. And then we go on to the face coverings and face shields. So first of all, to mention that the face shields have had a little bit of people like them, people don't like them, what have you, I don't know. But a few people have mentioned things about insurance companies. It's online quite a lot on social media, and you guys might think this already. I've had a few instructors also saying that it's you know, the insurance companies will not insure you if you're wearing them. And I've asked for evidence of that. Can you show me it? Haven't received any yet. We've checked with our insurance company, and they don't have a problem with face shields. There's no problem as long as they've said you can wear whatever PPE you want, as long as the instructor and the customer wants to wear it. Obviously, you would have to check with your own individual insurance companies to see if they have some sort of policy on this and some sort of issue with this, you know, before you go out, I guess. But at the moment, from what I'm seeing, is I think it's a bit of a rumour thing just to try to scare people because they don't like the idea of them, basically. I've worn both. I actually prefer the face shield over the mask simply because you can breathe better, but it'll be each their own on this. So, what's the crack with the face shields and the masks then? So, we would recommend that you're wearing the mask and you're wearing the face shield, because that's ultimate, well, with more protection. However, we are going to now give the option. So you can decide whether you just want to wear the face covering only, or you can decide to wear the face mask, sorry, the visor, shield. So you can wear the shield, or you can wear, so it's either going to be a shield only, or it'll be a face mask or a face covering only, or if you decide, you can wear both. So it'll be up to you. Obviously, some people prefer the face mask, some people prefer the face shields. So you know, it's going to be up to you. But like I say, if you just want to check out this insurance thing, which I think is a little bit of a bit of nothing, you should check the insurance company just in case, I guess. What's not allowed is you're not allowed to wear nothing. You can't wear, you know, you can't remove your mask while you're with the customer. You can't take off the face shield while you're with the customer. You really just can't do that. It's, again, you've just got to think common sense here. I know I've seen quite a lot of stuff on social media about instructors saying that they're not going to be wearing anything at all, and customers they're not going to ask the customers to, which I think is crazy, absolutely crazy. And obviously, it's a little bit frustrating seeing stuff like that. But what can you do? All we're going to do is we're going to put ourselves in a certain area, the company in a certain area, where we're going to say, this is what we're doing, and if you feel unsafe with your driving instructor, maybe it's because of these things, they're not wearing anything, come to us. And we're seeing that already on the phones, where some people are very concerned about things because they might be high risk, or their mum or dad might be in a sort of like a high risk sort of situation, and obviously so they want to make sure that everybody's protected. Anyhow, okay then, so that's kind of the new guidelines. So what we're seeing then is gloves now is optional, but if you don't wear gloves, you must wash your hands very thoroughly. Got to be really switched on with that, make sure it's getting done. You can't forget about that at all, otherwise it's just crazy. And then with a face covering, either a face covering or a shield, or both. With the customers, they have to still wear face coverings. They have to. If they can't for any reason, they shouldn't do driving lessons right now. They really just shouldn't. We can't take that risk right now. So they've got to wear the face covering. This information is all going to be put into the 24-page, I think it's probably going to be a bit longer now, but the working from a vehicle document. That will be launched, and the idea is tomorrow, so that will all go on. I'm going to send you all an email tomorrow with that all on, so you've got it, and you really should read it. And we are also going to be obviously putting that on social media and different things. Okay, so that's, I think it. There is going to be some more information in the document as well about the tests, because there is some things changing with the tests as well. What the customer's got to take with them. Basically they've got to wear a face covering on test and things like this. You probably know this already, but if you don't, yes, they've got to wear a face covering on the test. There's been something mentioned about the track and trace service. I don't know if you've seen that, but just to kind of let you know about this, if the customer's obviously got symptoms, then the DVSA can use the track and trace service to locate people, I guess, and that. But there was something mentioned about that you've got to be part of it, and you've got to be a part of it to do a test, otherwise you can't do the test. That was an error, as far as we're aware, as far as we've seen, that they've made a blunder there and they've corrected that information. So you don't have to be a part of it to do a test, but if you are part of it, then they can use that system. Obviously, if that changes or if there's some still incorrect information there, we'll get it out. But as far as we're aware right now, they do not have to be part of that system to do a test. You can do a test without being part of that track and trace system. So yes, also some of the little bits and bobs, just to let you know, if you didn't know, when you go to a test centre, the toilets will be, you can't use the toilets, closed. There's less people allowed in the test centre, so you can't all be in the test centre all at once. And you can't sit on the test anymore, so you can't sit in the back, and you've got to wait at the test centre, or I guess outside or whatever they're doing. What else to mention? If the test is a failure, and they'll be took straight back to the test centre, the test won't go on any longer, just to limit the amount of times that the examiner and the customer is together, I guess. So that's some of the things there. Yeah, so that's it. Oh, by the way, just to let you know as well, I'm just back to pass and go for a bit. When you are doing briefings, I just thought about this, when you're doing briefings, you can do these, I would recommend, if it's okay weather, do it outside. You can then take off your all of your gear, or your coverings, and you can stand, obviously far apart. You can do your briefing. That's what you can do. Okay, so I think that's everything. So obviously some changes. What I would say with these changes is things are always developing, things are always changing. So even we've announced this now. It could be in a week's time or so, the government says we should all be wearing face shields in this distance that we have with the customer, because we're very, very close to the customer. And so for safety, they might say that's a must, and then we'll have to update our guidance again. Something might come out about gloves, or you've got to wear gloves. And these things can change all the time. But obviously what you can see from us is that we are learning as we go with this as well. We are willing to change. So we're not going to be sticking by our guns going, no, we have to do it this way because we said it. We're willing to look and change as new guidance comes out, and deal with it in a sensible way. What I do ask from all of you as our instructors and represent our brand is to follow the PPE, do what you can to be safe, You know, I'm pretty sure that as soon as somebody's spotted without anything on and they're teaching, they're going to be snapped and it's going to come in, because that's the world we're in. So really just take it seriously. You know, we don't want what's going on in Leicester. We don't want things like that going on in other places. So really take it seriously. Let's keep it under control. Let's make sure there's limited risk. You guys are safe. The customers are safe. That's all what we want. That's what this is all about. It's just safety. Yeah, and I hope you can see the steps we're doing and the work we're putting in is to kind of give the right guidance, give the right thing to make sure everybody's safe. That's what we're all trying to do here. Okay, so I wanted to put this out in a video because by the time we've got all the documents ready and stuff, it's going to be ages. So, well, this weekend, but I can't do it all tonight. So the video is going to go out now. Obviously, you guys can watch this, and obviously you'll have the written documentation tomorrow. And then that's it. Any questions, obviously feel free to fire over to the instructor inbox. Okay, well, thanks very much, guys. Again, as always, we appreciate everything that you guys are doing and giving us the feedback to help us, you know, also give us some information that helps us look at this stuff to change down the line. I've had lots of feedback from you, which is great. Even those that have been very persistent, and you know who you are. I appreciate you guys as well. Okay then, right, I'm going to sign off. Have a nice evening. Have a nice weekend. Bye-bye.